Hello, everyone. This is Dr. North Matthews. This is take 4 now. Normally I don't have to do this, but man, the geese and stuff was making some noise. The dogs and the cat. Now the cat's trying to climb. I've had to lock the cat in the bedroom. It was climbing up my camera, climbing up the walls. The devil really ain't trying to get me to do this lesson. It must be a very important lesson because he's trying to get me just to go to bed and not even do it tonight. So it's going to be on Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis chapter 19. Now the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and the Lord was sitting in the gate of Sodom, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself at their feet towards the ground. He said, "Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night, and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way." Lot knows there's trouble. They said, "No, but we will spend the night in the open square." But he insisted strongly, so they turned into him and entered the house. Then he made them a feast, baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house, and they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out so we may know them carnally." So these people are not only trying to do some homosexual activity, they're trying to rape. They are trying to force themselves upon these two angels. So like, you got to imagine how wicked the city is. It's not only that they're conducting homosexual acts, but they're also trying to actually rape these angels. That's how wicked the city is. America's pretty wicked right now. I don't know if it's wicked enough to start raping angels. I don't know if it's that wicked, but who knows? I mean, there probably is some people that would rape an angel. There's the whole towns though coming. All the town's men, like young and old, it says, trying to come to this. So all of them's homosexuals, or they wouldn't be trying to do this. So we're going to verse 6. So Lot went to them through the door, shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have came under the shadow of my roof." So that's why he brought him in. He knew that the stuff was going on. It's so bad he's offering his daughters up to save the angels. That's pretty crazy to be in that particular predicament. There's a lot of crazy things about a story. That's why I've been trying to put this story off, but God wants me to do this story. There's a lesson behind it, and I'm not 100% sure where this lesson is leading to, but it's to the point to where this town is so wicked, and Lot brought these angels into the house trying to save them, and offered his daughters up, like Jesus offered his life up for us. So like Lot was so holy that he is willing to give his daughters up to save these 2 angels. I don't know anybody that's holy enough to do that at this point on this earth right now. I don't know anybody that says they would do that. So we'll go to verse 9. And they said, "Stand back." Then they said, this one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to breaking down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they would become weary trying to find the door. So these angels done made the guys go blind. They was actually able to pull Lot back in the house, and they struck these guys, these homosexuals with and these demon possessed men, with blindness, so they couldn't do nothing. You know, 'cause this is just totally demonic behavior. You know, trying to having a whole town trying to rape these two guys. That's just really, I can't wrap my mind around that. It's just really hard to wrap my mind around that the whole town is that crazy. So we'll go to verse 12. Then the man said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city. Take them out of this place." So they're warning him, like, whoever you care about, we're gonna let them live, because like you saved us, and now we're gonna save you. You know, like we're gonna let you out, and whoever you want to take with you, we're gonna allow you to take. But the rest of this town is gonna burn. So we'll go to verse 13. For we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown so great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws who had married his daughters, and said, Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But to the sons-in-laws he seemed to be joking. That's just like anybody that's talking to non-Christians about hell. They think we're joking. They think we're full of it. You know, they're making fun about this Charlie Kirk guy getting killed. Hate breaking it up, but you know, they're making jokes. You know that Jimmy Kimmel or something made a joke about it, and like, this is all demonic behavior, and like they think this is all make believe and hocus pocus stuff. These guys did. And you're going to see what ends up happening to these guys that thinks it's joking behavior. Same thing's going to happen to anybody watching this program that thinks it's a joking matter. This is life and death, and this is serious business that we're supposed to follow after Jesus, and be baptized and be forgiven of our sins, and we're supposed to forgive other people for no matter what they've done. We're supposed to forgive them. Well, it means we ain't got to forget them. We ain't got to be buddies with them, but we have to forgive the sins committed against us. And it's not no hocus pocus. This ain't no wizards and dragons and things. This is real life. All this stuff really happened, and Jesus really did die on that cross to save our soul. So these guys are thinking they're joking. All these people in the world, these wicked people that thinks that this Bible's a joke, joke's going to be on you when they put that dirt on your grave when you die, and you see where you go. So we'll go to verse 15. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, "Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city." And while he lingered, the men took hold his hand, his wife's hand, and his hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed." So like Lot was even like sort of, not really getting in a hurry, not 100% sure these guys are serious. That's the way we are as Christians sometimes. We get not in a hurry to do the right things. We got all this time to fix things, but like we're not promised tomorrow. And it shows how quick things can change. These guys are trying to rush them out, and sometimes Jesus is tugging on us to change our ways or do something, hurry up and do this, and we're not in a hurry. So it's serious. Sometimes you don't know how long you got left on this earth. If the Lord's been calling you to get baptized and you hadn't did it yet, go ahead and do it, because it could be too late. Tomorrow could be too late. Let's go ahead and take care of it today. So we're going to go to verse 18 now. Then Lot said to them, Please, no, my lords, indeed now your servant has favor in your... Hold on. Okay, yeah. Then Lot said to them, Please, no, my lords, indeed now your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy which you have shown me by saving my life, but I cannot escape the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. So they're telling him to do something, and this is like us. God's telling us to do something. We're like, hey, I know a little better than you. That seems a little hard. This seems a little bit harder than what I'm willing to do. Can we just cut it in half and go over here, and maybe I can still do a little bit of what I want to do, and this is like I catch myself trying to make deals with God. That's what Lot's doing right now. Lot's trying to work out a deal instead of doing what God wants him to do. And there's going to be some things that happen, I feel like, because of that, and especially because the sons-in-law. So they really are reaping the consequences. So we have consequences behind our actions, what God calls us to do and what we end up doing, and it's hard. Sometimes this stuff is like Lot's old and he don't want to climb up no mountains. He wants to go to the next city. He's like, why do I gotta go to the mountain? Well, God told him to, So there will be some type of I don't know. It's really hard to really understand unless you really know God, of like why certain things happen sometimes, and sometimes it takes a while to figure it out. And I believe everybody likes to argue with God a little bit and try to have their way, and this is what is showing that, like Lot, as holy as he was, he's willing to offer his two daughters up. He's arguing with God. So it's showing us examples of like this is the way we was built. This is the way humanity is. We want to argue with God. We want to push against Him sometimes. No matter how holy we are, the holiest of holy people still push against God. So nobody's perfect. Anybody stand up on a pedestal and saying all that stuff, man, don't listen to them people. They don't know their butt from the hole in the ground. They really don't. Excuse my language. So we're gonna go to 21, I think. He said, I'm going to go to verse 21. And he said to him, See, I have favored you concerning this thing also, and that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun has risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah, for the Lord out of heavens, so he overthrew those cities, all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city, and what grew on the ground. He killed everything. killed the grass, everything. As soon as Lot stepped out of them borders into this smaller city that he argued to go to. So they worked out a deal. I think we as Christians work out deals with God, and it doesn't necessarily make it right, but that's just our nature. It was in our nature since Genesis to try to work out deals with God to get what we want and not do what He wants us to do. We'll go to verse 26. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. She looked back. They told her not to. Then we'll go to this verse 27. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah and towards all the land of the plain, and he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land which went upon like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrown, when he overthrows the cities in which Lot had dwelt. So he's trying to get Lot out of that city, the one that he asked God to go to. He's it's like sometimes we have to go all the way around the world to get to where God wants us to. So then we'll go to verse 30. This is where it gets sort of gray and just weird. This last little bit. 30. Then Lot went up to Zoar and dwelt in the mountains. So he finally goes to the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zoar. So he went to the mountains. He ended up being afraid finally. He's seen all this stuff. He's like, man, God did tell me to go to the mountains, so that's where I need to go. He didn't go straight to the mountains. He went to Zoar and hung out there for a minute. Then he's finally deciding. So if you're on the fence on this getting baptized and stuff, let's don't go to Zoar. Let's go to the mountains. Let's go to get our baptism done. Going to church is fine, but you need to go ahead and do what God's calling you to do, is to be baptized. And he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. Now the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come in us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, and we may preserve the lineage of our father. So they made their father drink the wine that night, and the firstborn went and laid with her father. And he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. Then they made their father drink wine that night also. The younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot were with child by the father. The firstborn son called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger, she also bore a son called him Ben Armani. He is the father of the people of Ammon to this day. So, just by the husbands not following, it affected the wives, and it affected the whole family. As the family needs to be on one page with God. You know, because what we do affects other people, and I'm not really. It's really confusing why it's happened, but I do know that God destroyed that city because it was so bad, and they didn't do exactly what God said to begin, was to go up to the mountains. So it started off with the husbands not following what God asked them to do. So they end up dying. They end up dying with all the bad people. They thought it was a joke. Is there somebody here thinking this is a joke, or they're on the fence? Well, it's not. So I beg and plead to you to get back into the church and to get baptized and start walking in newness of life the best you can. You know, and all this end up being to where they went to this other little city. Then they end up in the mountains where they originally were supposed to went to with the husbands and Lot, all the people supposed to. The wife looked back. Somehow Abraham got brought into the mix. Abraham actually looked over it. It wasn't Lot. It didn't say Lot. It said Abraham looked over that. So I'm not 100% where. That's why I'm saying it was a little bit of confusing story. And then it ended up where Lot's daughters ended up getting him drunk. So Lot didn't technically commit a sin. He was drunk and said he didn't know when they came, when they went. So they must have got him really slosh drunk. I don't know how that happened, but it doesn't say that he was. It basically says he wasn't aware of any of that stuff. So Lot didn't technically commit a sin knowingly. The girls did. And then somehow Lot was still blessed, even though the girls had committed it was the girls that had committed the sin. They went there and slept with their father. And it says he didn't know. I don't know, that the guy had been really drunk for him to been able to have sex with his daughters and not even know that none happened. But there is blackouts. Maybe that's what happened. Lot had a blackout. Maybe that was the first ever blackout that's recorded in history. Because there is blackouts when you get so drunk, sometimes you forget what you did. So that's what it sounded like. It sounded like Lot had 2 blackouts back-to-back nights and had sex with his daughters, and he was still blessed, even though they went around the world and like there was some unholy stuff happened. So what I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes everything isn't perfect is what I'm trying to get at. Everything is not perfect, but we do need to follow after God the best of our ability, and that's what Lot did. Lot followed the best of his ability. He didn't want to leave. He was taking his time, probably because the husbands wasn't wanting to go. He's probably trying to bring them, and like he could have ended up in a bad state if he had just stayed there. He'd have been dead too. So what I'm trying to get at is, just because some of your family isn't wanting to follow after Christ doesn't necessarily mean you need to hold yourself back because of the family. The family end up sometimes can mess you up. You've seen that if Lot had stayed there with he was trying, and I'm sure that's why he was taking his time. The angels had to grab him by his hand, it said. Grab the daughters, grab the wife by their hands. They left the men there. Because the men thought it was a joke, thought it was funny, thought it was just totally just made up fairy tale. They didn't believe it. So my question is, do you believe that Jesus existed? If you do, get a hold of somebody and get baptized. That's what Jesus did it. He set up an example. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm tying this all in. I'm doing the best I can with that particular lesson. It was a very hard one and it got twisted around, but we have to follow our own path. We can't stay back because we're concerned about somebody. We have to follow after Christ. Christ is the most important thing. That's not to say that we shouldn't be caring about family members, or we shouldn't But we don't need to be left behind because of a family member. You know, if they choose this, they choose not to follow after Christ. It doesn't mean we have to choose not to follow after Christ because our mother or our father or our daughters or you know, sons-in-laws or whatever, they're not wanting to do it. It's like, it don't matter what they're doing, it matters what you're doing, it matters what I'm doing, it matters what each individual person is doing. Like, you need to man up and be an individual, or woman up and be an individual, and make up your own mind what's right, what's wrong. You know, this world's playing out wicked stuff. People just lying and then creating violence to get their way. That's what these people was doing. They was trying to force themselves upon these angels. And now you've got just a bunch of wicked people forcing their voice, this demonic, onto us as Christians. They're killing us now. They've been doing it for a long time, though. It's like it's not like this is the first murder. Cain killed Abel because of jealousy, because Abel found favor in God, and that's why these murders keep happening. Is these people are just they're full of the devil. There's no other explanation. Anybody that takes somebody's life is full of the devil. And anybody that takes up for somebody that does that, they just are guilty. They just as guilty as the person that pulled the trigger. Anybody that thinks that's okay. So I'm sort of rambling at this point. I did the best I could with this particular lesson. You know, I asked God to guide me through it, and I believe I made some good points. And you know, it's what it is. The lesson mainly is to stay away from wicked, and you follow after Christ to the best of your ability. But you need to be baptized, and I'm going to leave y'all with that next week. And I don't know where I'll be at, but we'll be somewhere God has sent me to. With that being said, if you like what you've seen, like, share, and subscribe, and put some comments in that thing. Y'all have a blessed week.